Let me guess, you think you and your ex have a communication problem. You've probably told yourself over and over that if you could just find the right words, or if they would just listen for once, you could finally stop the constant, draining, and soul crushing fighting, didn't you? But what if I told you that the real issue has almost nothing to do with your communication? What if the problem is biological? Because the real reason you're stuck is that every time you get a text from your ex, every time you have to coordinate a pickup or do anything that is related to your co-parenting with her, your nervous system gets hijacked. And as a divorce dad's coach, I'm going to show you why your brain interprets certain texts, especially the ones placed with blame, with guilt, or power plays. You know exactly what I'm talking about, don't you? Well, that's a direct threat to you. More importantly, I'll show you how to use the science of self-regulation to finally end this cycle for good. Now listen, this isn't about learning to communicate better. This is about learning to control your own biology. Now, if you've ever stared at your phone with your heart pounding, with your hands itchy, shoulder tense, reading a text from your ex that looks logistical but carries blame, accusation, or a subtle jab, or sometimes not so subtle jab, direct insults, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Maybe it's about homework, followed with accusations and triangulations and manipulations. Maybe it's a last minute schedule change. On the surface, it's logistical. Underneath, feels like disrespect. So your response comes out sharp, defensive, or aggressive. You're ready for battle. Theirs comes back even faster, even more accusatory, because she has more ground to do so, right? After your response. And within minutes, you're in a full-blown text fight, wondering how you got there. Again, right? And listen, this exhausting pattern isn't a personal failure. It's a sign that your nervous system is dysregulated. It is scientifically proven that high conflict co-parenting, and if you're watching this video, that's what you have, especially after a tough divorce, can put your whole body into a state of chronic fight or flight. And don't underestimate this. It floods your system with stress hormones like cortisol and or adrenaline, making you hyper aware of any potential threat, and making you interpret seemingly not threatening situations as high threat situations. Why is that happening? Well, your brain's threat detection center, the amygdala, becomes overreactive. What is the amygdala? It is the primitive, powerful part of your brain built for survival. What does it do? Well, when it's firing, it shuts down your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain you need for rational thought and good decision making, and fires off an alarm, pushing you towards fight or flight. What does it mean in simple terms? Well, it means you're continuously stuck in anxiety and stress, in defensiveness and edginess, and you're drained because this process takes a lot of your life force. So you can't think right and you make poor decisions. In the end, those poor decisions cost you money, energy, resources, court trips, custody, and much, much more. In essence, they cost you your life. That's what's going on. So I want you to think of it this way. Your nervous systems right now is like a smoke detector. A healthy one goes off when there's real fire. But a faulty, overly sensitive one goes off every time you make a toast. And in high conflict co-parenting dynamic in which you're stuck right now, your nervous system becomes that faulty smoke detector. And your ex, well, guess what? She's the toast. So a text, a certain tone of voice, a certain expression on the face, even their silence or just the name popping on the screen is enough to set off the alarm. And off you go. Even when no real threat exists. I mean, you're not going to die just because she's texting you, right? So the key to breaking the cycle is not getting your ex to change. That's ludicrous. Do you know many men, many people in general actually, that actually changed their wives while they were married? What makes you believe that your ex, all of a sudden that you're divorced, is going to shift? It's impossible. It's not happening. You are not going to make her change. That's wishful thinking and fantasy. It ain't going to happen. So the key is to stop your own smoke detector from sounding a false alarm. Why? Because you have control over that. Well, at least so you should. In essence, it starts with you. So you might be asking me, so what's the way out of this loop? Well, the way out of this loop isn't through more talking or perfectly worded texts. That's gonna lead you nowhere. How do I know? You're watching this video after attempting that, didn't you? Well, it's like trying to build a house in an earthquake. You have to make the ground solid first, right? Obvious. So it's a stage process that starts from the inside out, using 6 steps to move from stress to calm. Stage 1, internal stabilization and self-regulation. Now listen, before you even think about replying to that triggering text, your only job, again, I repeat, your only job is to calm your own body down. You have to slam the brakes on that fight or flight response. When your heart is racing and you feel that flash of anger, you know what I'm talking about, right? You just want to punch something or somebody. Well, your amygdala is in charge. Your first instinct will be to defend yourself, or to justify, or to explain, or to argue. In essence, to jade. And that will pour gasoline on the fire. So the first step is to pause. Always pause. What do you do in that pause? You don't start scrolling something else. You don't start looking around. You don't just like start smoking or drinking. During that pause, what you do is you notice what's happening in your body. Just notice, breathe, notice. Is your heart pounding? Are your shoulders tense? Is your jaw clenched? Are you breathing in here? Shallow breath. These are the signals. Now you need to deliberately and purposefully activate your body's braking system. One of the fastest ways to do this is with your breath. A recognized tool for this is the 4-7-8 breathing pattern. I'll explain to you and then I'll demonstrate. It's super easy, available anytime, anywhere. So what you do, you just inhale through your nose for 4 seconds. You hold for 7, then you exhale for 8. You exhale through your mouth as if you're blowing a candle. And that long exhale is key. It stimulates the vagus nerve, which helps calm your entire system. What you do, you repeat this 3 to 5 times. What, it's going to take 2 minutes, 3 minutes? And then you wait before responding. And so, how does this breath work? I'm going to demonstrate. You inhale for 4, hold for 7, exhale for 8. So here we go. That's it. That's one. And I even got a little dizzy. Do you notice the change in my voice? I just got calmer. My nervous system just relaxed right here on the video in front of you. That's how fast it works. All you need to do is try. Just do it right now yourself. Just pause the video, do it. You'll see the effect almost immediately. And so once you've done it 3 to 5 times, you wait. Wait for 30, 60, sometimes even 90 minutes before you even think about replying. It doesn't mean you respond immediately or within that 90 minutes. Because the goal is to wait until the initial anxiety attack is passed. Because if you cannot think straight in that fight or flight response, what do you think you're going to be writing? This pause stops the amygdala hijack and lets your rational brain come back online. Only then can you move on. But what do you move on? What's the next step? Well, it's stage 2, communication containment. Okay, now you're calm. It's time to contain the communication. What does it mean? Because your job is not to win the argument or explain your side. She doesn't care about your side, let's be honest. Okay? And if you think you can win your argument against her, come on, really? After all those years trying? You need to understand it, okay? Your one and only goal is to de-escalate by refusing to give the conflict any emotional fuel. What you do, you withdraw your own emotionality from this. You'll do this with 3 simple rules. Delay, strip, and stick to logistics. So first you delay. Just because you can't respond instantly doesn't mean you should. High conflict thrives on speed and reactivity. You want to slow the fuck down. Slowing the pace robs the conflict of its power. Unless it's a true emergency or same-day response is absolutely required, and usually that's not the case, you want to wait for 24 hours. Yeah, 24 hours. This will feel super uncomfortable. You're going to be there thinking about, oh, I want to respond. Why? Because your amygdala makes you think, what is she going to say? It becomes curious. It wants to continue this fight. Don't. It's a game-changing strategy. The second thing you do is to strip every last drop of emotion, narrative, and defense from your reply. You don't explain. You don't justify. You don't argue. You don't defend. You don't apologize defensively either. You don't accuse. Nothing. Imagine you're an editor and your only job is to cut every single word that isn't pure, boring, logistical fact. That's your job. And third, you stick to those logistics. Your reply should only address the practical part of the message. If there isn't one, let me tell you something, you might not even need to reply at all. At the heat of the conflict with one of the mothers to my kids, I think I would be replying one every 10 messages, because 9 out of 10 didn't contain anything for me to do. It was just venting from her, accusing me, and creating all kinds of bullshit narrative. I didn't have to respond to any of this. And within 3 to 4 months, it all calmed down. We went to mediation and we resolved our conflicts peacefully. That's the system I'm teaching you right here, right now. Okay? So let's go back to our examples. How does it actually sound? So the triggering text may be, "You're always late." This is exactly why our son struggles. You need to step up. Your reactive reply might have been, "That's not true. You're exaggerating like you always do. I'm doing my best unlike you." So you defend yourself and you attack her. But the contained reply after you're calm, maybe even the next day, would be, "I'll adjust and arrive at 6:15 or whatever time you schedule." That's it. See what you're doing here? You're not denying their feelings or not even validating them. You don't care about that. You're surgically removing the logistics and responding only to those logistics. It will feel totally unnatural. It will feel like you're letting them win, but you're not playing that game anymore. The old game was about winning arguments. You lost before you even started. It's a stupid game that no man can ever win. The new game is about ending the conflict, and that's how you win everything. Now, if you're already having a light bulb moment about your own conflicts, do me a favor and hit that like and subscribe button below. I share the exact strategies and knowledge you need to succeed in your post-divorce reality every 2 weeks. You need to understand here, guys, that stages 1 and 2 aren't one-time fix. Stage 3, pattern disruption, is all about relentless consistency. You have to be a broken record of calm, boring, logistical responses every single time. This is where real change happens, guys, grounded in basic behavioral psychology. Because your ex is used to a certain reaction from you. When you stop providing it, you begin to break the subconscious feedback loop that fuels the conflict on her end. They might escalate at first to get the reaction they're used to, but your consistency will starve the conflict of the energy it needs to survive. Stage 4, boundary normalization. Here's the fun part. As you consistently apply these methods, you move into stage 4, boundary normalization. With the emotional intensity reduced, your new, non-emotional way of communicating becomes the new baseline. You are, without arguing or pleading, teaching your ex that emotional bait and accusations will no longer get a reaction. This isn't boundary you announce, it's a boundary you live. It normalizes a more business-like interaction and reduces stress for everyone because the rules of engagement, while unspoken, become clear and predictable. And listen, she will quickly see the new pattern. And I mean, how quickly? It can be a few weeks, it can be a few months. And she will test it. And eventually, she'll adopt it. Stage 5, functional co-parenting. This consistency builds the foundation for stage 5, functional co-parenting. This is not about cooperation just yet. It's about reliability. Because you have consistently shown up as calm and non-threatening, a new kind of trust can form. Not the trust of friendship, but the trust of predictability. And this is the core of parallel parenting, a method where parents limit direct contact but remain actively involved in their child's life. It works for high conflict situations because it doesn't require you to get along. It just requires you to be predictable and disengaged from each other's drama. Listen, this is far healthier for your children, as it creates stability and lowers their exposure to conflict. Stage 6, strategic expansion, optional. Only after you have mastered the first 5 stages can you consider this final optional step, strategic expansion. For most, functional parenting is the peaceful destination. You don't even dream going beyond that. That in and out of itself would be dream come true. But for others, once the conflict is gone and a long track record of reliability has been established, it may be possible to expand into more collaborative, aligned co-parenting. Now listen, this isn't about becoming best friends, although you might. It's about being able to have productive, child-focused conversations because the threat of mutual destruction is finally off the table. At this stage, you may even initiate, if you wish, some common events like celebrating your child's birthday together or having regular family time with them. This transforms the relationship from toxic to thriving, and in and out of itself, it's a great feat and a heroic outcome. So remember the 6 stages. Regulate. Pause and calm your nervous system down before anything else. Contain. Strip your communication down to boring logistical facts. Disrupt. Be relentlessly consistent until the old pattern breaks. Normalize boundaries. Let your actions, not arguments, define the new rules. Build functional parenting. Create peace through predictability, not friendship. Expand strategically, an optional step for those who want to build a collaborative future. For years, you've been told you have a communication problem. But the truth is, you have a dysregulation problem. And the constant fighting isn't a character flaw for neither of you. It's a predictable, biological reaction to a chronic state of threat for both of you. But you're not powerless. The solution isn't finding the magic words that will finally make them understand. The solution is to understand your own biology and take control of it. Now listen, this journey isn't easy. And for some deeply entrenched high-conflict situations, this technique should be a starting point, possibly alongside professional mediation, therapy, or coaching. And if you need help, there is a link under the video for you to reach out, and I could help you establish those in your life. Because the payoff is immense. I want you to imagine for a moment a future where a text from your ex doesn't ruin your day. Imagine handling logistics with calm efficiency. Imagine the peace that comes from knowing you're no longer a slave to the conflict. Most importantly, imagine the gift you're giving your children. Study after study confirms that it's not the divorce itself that harms children most, but the ongoing exposure to their parents' conflict. By ending this war, you are protecting their developing brains from toxic stress and creating the stability they need to thrive. Listen, you can't control your ex. You can only control yourself. But in high conflict co-parenting, learning to control yourself is the most powerful move you can possibly make. That's how you finally win. Not the argument, but your peace. Take care.